This is an unrequited thing, but I'm just going to say it. There is a woman who I have always admired in this business, who I've never worked with directly. I don't know her personally, but from a distance, I've always thought that she was really impressive. Long stretches reporting from the war in Bosnia, more than 25 reporting trips to Iraq, starting with the initial invasion of Iraq, one of the best Iraq reporters we had of either gender. She was the first reporter to get the scoop when Abu Musab al-Zarqawi was killed. She also wrote an incredibly moving, incredibly well-reported book on the battle for Sadr City in Baghdad and what that was like for the 1st Cavalry Division, fighting that house-to-house battle. And at the same time, what it was like for the families of the 1st Cav back home waiting for news while they were in this incredible battle. She's also the only American reporter to have reported from a combat mission in an F-15 over Afghanistan. She's operating at a totally different level of this business than I am. I've never worked with her. But I've always admired her. She's really been through it. Kellyanne Conway is our guest right now for the interview. Kellyanne, I'm raising this issue right now because here is how your boss has been talking about her in public.
How about when a major anchor who hosted a debate started crying when she realized that we won? How about tears? No, tell me this isn't true.
We know from the number of times he's told that story that he's talking about ABC's Martha Raddatz there. Martha Raddatz did not, in fact, cry on election night. She did not say, no, tell me this isn't true. There were no tears streaming down her face. It's wrong what he is saying about her. But what I'm bothered by is the way he is singling her out, not just with wrong information, but singling her out. Is this how even a reporter like Martha Raddatz is going to be treated by this president?
No, and I would have updates, but they're privately held. We've been discussing this with ABC News. I've talked to the president of ABC News about this directly, and I've talked to the president-elect. And look, we all have enormous respect for Martha Raddatz as a journalist. Everything you just said about her would get a +1 from me. And we do have enormous respect for her and her colleagues at ABC News. I think anybody who watches just this past week, the job she did sitting in for her colleague on This Week with George Stephanopoulos, it was a tour de force in how you interview people right, left, and center about issues you know something about.
She's among the best that we've got in this country.
I completely agree with you. But I would like to broaden the conversation, if I may, out in terms of...
Wait, are we going to get an apology from the president-elect on that? I mean, he's telling a story about her that is not true and telling it to great effect and having people jeer her. Will he correct this?
Well, so apologies like that are not made publicly necessarily, but
the accusation was made publicly.
So the accusation was made by a number of people, and I'm just telling you, I've got an update to what you presented there, is all I'll say. And it would make you happy. So, but in terms of his relationship with the press, I mean, Rachel, I don't know how anybody can disagree with just the empirically provable fact that Donald Trump got more negative press coverage than anybody in modern political history.
Also, quantifiably more press coverage than anybody in modern political history.
Well, because people were trying to prevent him from being the president.
Oh, he was a phenomenon.
Well, he's a heck of a lot more interesting to cover, that's sure, than the alternative. No doubt people wanted to cover him. But, I mean, the negative press, the presumptive negative press, and I'm somebody who's very pro-press. Somebody who I think has good relations with most of the press, the print and electronic media. But it is frustrating oftentimes, if you're in Trump world, to not be able to get your message out, which is why he ended up taking it directly to the people. People would ridicule us for doing these rallies, but it was his way of being the master communicator, master connector he is, of making people feel like they were part of his movement, not part of some garden variety politician campaign. And let me just say, his way of cutting through the noise or cutting through the silence on an issue, whatever the case was, at a given time.
It's on an issue like, just to stay specific to Martha Raddatz here, he did say something about her publicly that isn't true, and until he corrects it publicly, the people who heard him say it will continue to believe an untrue thing about a woman who doesn't deserve it. I will just make that case to you. And I have one other thing on this to ask you about, which I don't think you've ever commented on. Peter Thiel is part of the transition.
Yes.
He put a news organization out of business. He did not like how Gawker.com covered him in Silicon Valley. So he funded a legal strategy against them. They got sued for over $100 million. It made that company go away. They no longer exist because Peter Thiel sued them out of existence. The lawyer he used to do that is now representing Melania Trump in a lawsuit that she has filed against a blogger you've never heard of. She's filed a $150 million lawsuit against a blogger. Is that going to continue after inauguration? Is the Trump family going to try to sue to bankrupt news outlets and bloggers?
That's not the goal here. The goal here is to tell the truth. Is that
to collect $150 million from that guy?
No, let's be fair here. First of all, let me go back to what you said about Peter Thiel. I don't want anybody to leave here misinformed or misled that somehow he sued a company out of business. He filed a lawsuit. The judge or the jury heard all of the evidence. Gawker didn't settle. They may have been
Ask
offered to
him
settle.
why he did it.
And
he said he did it to put them
But he
out of business.
succeeded, and he succeeded he succeeded with apparently
terrifying.
an excellent lawyer who now has been hired by Mrs. Melania Trump, who also has been slandered and maligned, and she has a right to defend herself. This woman is brilliant. Anybody who anybody who underestimates her and misunderstands her does so at their own peril. I know her very well. She's going to make an amazing first lady with an incredible platform.
Is that lawsuit going to continue once she's first lady?
I don't know that the course of the lawsuit, meaning I don't know what it's where it is in the process right now, but she has a right to defend herself.
Does the Trump? This is a very unusual thing, though. What Peter Thiel did. It's a novel legal strategy. He's the one who's pioneered. He invented it. He's pioneered it.
And he succeeded at it.
And he succeeded
with
at
this
it.
lawyer.
And it made a journalistic enterprise disappear. And so
they made themselves disappear by lying,
they wrote a thing about
by not settling and by being arrogant. I guess going forward. That's my guess. That's how the legal system works.
What he did, he accomplished what he set out to do. We both acknowledge.
He's done that his whole life. The man's an amazing success story.
But with the Gawker thing, he set out to fund that lawsuit to make Gawker disappear, and it worked. Is the Trump family now embracing that strategy?
Not at all.
Going to use that?
Not at all.
That is what she's doing.
No, she's defending herself, and she got, I think, an unusual, if not unprecedented, apology. Even though after
she got a retraction, and now she's still pressing ahead with the lawsuit.
It's unheard of. Well,
but why press ahead with the lawsuit after the retraction?
Why is it okay to treat her that way?
Well,
Rachel?
I'm not talking about her treatment. I'm talking about.
No, that's what this is about, though. If you're going to lie about Melania
I also
Trump,
have no opinion on the Hulk Hogan sex tape, but I do have an opinion on using a legal strategy, a novel legal strategy, to disappear journalistic enterprises.
That's not what this is about. I think in her case, it's a straight up lawyer? It's a straight up because he's effective. He did a great job.
He's effective at this legal strategy.
That was one type of case that he handled, but that's not the goal here. The goal here is to, I think, punish and to call out people who lie about Melania Trump.
And a retraction isn't enough.
Well,
even if you retract it, the first family will continue to sue you?
No, it's not the first family. Let's be fair. She's a private citizen.
Okay, so the first lady of the United States, if you apologize, you get it wrong. You apologize and you retract it. You will continue to be sued, perhaps as an individual, for over $100 million.
Do you think an apology?
That's going to continue?
Well, hold on, Rachel. Do you think an apology and a retraction undoes the damage? I think when Humpty Dumpty falls off the damn wall, you can't.
You guys are endorsing this strategy.
No, I didn't say that. I'm asking you a question.
But you're defending
Why is it okay? I'm not defending it. I'm defending her and her right to sue people who spread lies and vicious lies about her.
If the Trump family believes,
how about people just stop doing that? I've got a great novel strategy. How about you stop lying about Melania Trump?
Every president, not only in the modern era, every president back to the beginning of newsprint has believed that the press has lied about them and has hated the press and has inveighed against the press. I have never seen a first family, never seen a president or his family members trying to put newspapers out of business through a novel legal strategy.
Listen,
and I want to know if the Gawker legal strategy.
She's not trying to do that.
She's
not trying to do that. That is not her lawsuit. Her lawsuit is suing someone, suing a publication that lied about her, and they
are they going to do that to everybody?
And they apologize. Well, are people going to stop lying about them? And she didn't file that lawsuit as the first lady. She filed the lawsuit as a private citizen.
Will it continue when she's first lady?
Are people going to continue to lie about her?
Well, presumably the
first
family will continue to believe that people are lying about them. All presidents do. Will the lawsuit?
Oh my God, it doesn't even come close. Do you know what we were discussing 8 years ago around this time? Because not you and me necessarily, but you and me separately. Do you know what the country was discussing 8 years ago? We weren't discussing all the any negative stuff that was associated with President-elect Obama. It was basically, what will they wear to the inaugural? What will he try to push through? How long will it take to get health care? I mean, it's just different for the Trumps. And you know it. But as a private citizen that's being lied about, I'm very proud of her. I'm proud of her as someone who admires her, who knows her, and I'm proud as a woman who gets sick and tired of watching other women torn down in the press. especially a public figure like that. I'm proud of her for pushing forward with that lawsuit. And she got a retraction, she got an apology. You're asking me, is it enough? Is the damage undone? Do you think you can't pull up that story somewhere? I bet you could pull it up right now on your computer. So the damage is always there. And that's not fair to her.
Are you glad that Gawker's gone?
I haven't paid much attention to it. Am I glad that they're gone?
If somebody lies about the first family, you see it as a lie, would you want that news enterprise to be gone?
No.
In punishment?
No. Of course not. No.
This conversation that we've just had will be taught in journalism classes
well,
over the next couple
years. Let me add a
years.
quick addendum, because I'm looking at the time. Let me add a quick addendum to that. I certainly don't want them gone, but I also want the legal process to take its regular course without interruption from anyone else. So if the lawsuit includes a judgment, if the verdict includes a judgment that puts said Gawker out of business because they did not settle or they did not protect their assets or they did, if that's the result, that may not have been the intention.
That was the intention.
Result.
Peter
In this
Costello
case,
was the intention.
The man is brilliant.
Kellyanne, Conway.
Thanks for having me.
It's really nice to have you here. I hope you will continue to do this. And you told me last time we spoke that I'd get to speak with your candidate during the election.
Now.
It didn't happen, but you owe me one.
He did want me to tell you, because I told him last week that I was coming on your show this week, and he said he was so happy. And then I talked to him 2 days ago. He said, make sure you announce on her show that you're coming into the White House. He was very excited. I'm sure he's watching.
Congratulations on your new gig.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We're way over time. We'll be right back. Sorry.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.